My monitor would not turn off. On closer inspection, I saw that the plastic power button was missing. The momentary on button looked okay, thanks to Tony Licari, who motivated me to get this fix done. The tools I used were a flathead and Phillips screwdrivers and a hot glue gun. The first task was to disassemble the monitor. To begin, I removed the 4 screws that held the base in place. Once the screws were removed, I slid the base downward to remove it. Next was removing the back cover. This monitor does not use screws. Instead, the back cover is held on using tabs and latches. To remove the cover, I had to use the flathead screwdriver and insert it into the small groove that separates the back cover and the bezel. Once in place, I twisted the screwdriver to separate the back cover from the front bezel. This took various attempts and some practice. When the tab was released from the latch, it makes a popping noise. This must be done all around the monitor. Use care when twisting the screwdriver, but some damage is inevitable. These are the tabs on the back cover and the latches on the bezel. The monitor has 6 latches on top and bottom and 4 latches on each side. Once most or all of the latches have been released, I laid the monitor screen down and lifted the back cover. If any latches are still engaged, carefully move the back cover to disengage them. The control panel with the buttons is visible at the bottom of the monitor. This is a close-up of the circuit board with the buttons. The circuit board is lifted out of the frame by gently prying its 2 ends. Use your fingers, not a tool. Also, do not touch the plastic buttons. These are fragile and can break off easily. This is the plastic button structure on the other side of the circuit board. The middle power button is clearly missing. Otherwise, the circuit board looks okay. I pressed the red button with my finger and it clicked as expected. At this point, I assumed that the only problem was the missing button. I damaged 2 buttons while removing the control panel. This is clearly evident by how the button highlighted by the red arrows looks different than the rest. Notice how it is bent back. The arrows indicate the 2 points that connect the button to the plastic structure. These are very fragile. I removed the plastic structure from the circuit board. The plan was to insert and glue a tab that I could press, and in turn the tab would press the button on the circuit board. I just needed sturdy material. After some experimentation, I decided to use the plastic from a credit card. I didn't have a disposable credit card on hand, so I used this expired Chick-fil-A card. After some trial and error, I found that the ideal measurements for the tab were 5/8 inch long by 3/8 inch wide. Why this hack? Why not just get a replacement part for the plastic structure? I wondered if this part was available, so I went to my go-to search engine. I typed in ViewSonic monitor parts. I scrolled down a bit and found a link for ViewSonic LCD monitor parts, so I clicked on it. Lots of parts were presented here. After some previous exploration, I found the part on page 5, so we'll just scroll down quickly. Clicked on the link to go to page 5. I had to scroll down until I got halfway down the page, but I found it. I clicked on the item to drill down. It doesn't have much of a description. The cost is 20 cents US, so at least it won't break the bank. It did not explicitly say that it is for the VA2231wm monitor, but it sure looks a lot like the piece that I have, except that the piece shown on the website seems to have thicker plastic frames holding the buttons. You can click on the image to zoom in. No indication whether it is available or shipping costs. For now, I'll just hack the solution. I hot glued the plastic tab onto the plastic frame. I made sure to add enough glue so that it would make a reliable contact. As for the contacts for the 2 damaged buttons, I added a drop of crazy glue to reinforce the contact between the button and the plastic structure. My first choice was using a popsicle stick. This was much sturdier than the flimsy plastic card. I cut it down to size, but still missed the width. The image here shows 1/2 inch, but that was too wide. After some trial and error, I found that 3/8 of an inch was the best fit. I found that the popsicle stick was too thick. When I assembled the monitor, the tab pressed against the button. This did not work. I had to disassemble the monitor again and use a thinner material. hence the plastic card. To reinforce the connection on one of the side buttons, I added hot glue to it. As this image shows, it made a good connection to keep the button from breaking off. When I placed the control panel back into the monitor's frame, I found that it didn't fit. There is little extra room for anything. The added hot glue increased its mass just enough to not let it fit right. I had to remove the hot glue. After I removed the hot glue, the control panel fit nicely into the frame. Trial and error again. In the end, I ended up removing all the hot glue from the button. I assembled the monitor to test. This is what the tab looks like. All the control panel buttons worked on the 4th try. This is the damage caused to the monitor's frame when I twisted the screwdriver to pop the latches. There might be a specialized tool to open the monitor without causing this damage. Then again, the monitor might be considered disposable. This damage was all around the frame. And finally, the test. I'm happy for now. I might try ordering the spare part if possible, because this hack won't last forever.